Yeah, and also after 25 minutes or so, we'll get up and just make sure the cameras are...
And we can like maybe refill our beers or something.
Yeah,
exactly.
sure.
Go to the
I
bathroom.
was actually already like thinking ahead, you know?
No, we like you do it and then we do it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
There's no order.
yeah, okay, yeah.
It's okay.
And then...
Ooh,
Cool.
nice. Okay, guys, welcome to Unsigned Berlin. Yet another episode, and today we are joined by Bob Bleedy. We're really excited to have you. And yeah, we should just jump right into some background maybe about you and why you moved to Berlin. That's kind of our...
I'll do the snippet.
The snippet. Oh,
Yeah.
yes. We do the snippet first. Sorry, guys. We will do the snippet.
We've done a lot of these.
Yeah, I should know by now.
So can't you see?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Here it is.
Was Can't You See by Bob Bleedy. And yeah, so we can start maybe, like you said, with a bit of background, why you moved to Berlin, how you started music, the whole journey.
Yeah.
Right.
Condense it down.
Yeah, and to Berlin, that was before Corona, maybe 3 or 4 months, so 2019. I actually moved here because I had a band with like a good friend of mine, Joachim, and he already went to BIM. And, we wanted to go to BIM together. He told me about it and how good it is and everything and how Berlin is nice. And I went a few times. I was like, oh yeah, I like it here. But I had to finish my economics degree that I was like, stuck in. That looked like economics. That's right. Yes. I was stuck there, and although I also enjoyed it to some extent, of course, but it was really difficult for me to. Obviously, I wanted to do beats, and I was thinking about beats and my music at class and stuff, and. I've just finished like undergraduate degree there, and then I said, hey, sorry, Dad, it's not really working out, I'm gonna be a musician, and I went to BIM, and I was here. I went to a year below Joachim. He's like, his name is Yasha96. He's still in Berlin. We had a band together at the time. Then Corona happened. Mm-hmm. Yeah, after like 4 months. Half of the term was online, which was it really sucked, So
yeah.
It really sucked, and a lot of like my friends from the class left. School completely. Some came back, like my guitarist Bartas. I paused it. I paused the studies, and I started working. I couldn't speak German, so I was just like, let's do this. What is this Lieferando thing? Corona. What else can I do? And I started that, and I during that time, I realized, I can save some money and work on my music. I really had to prioritize then because I had less time and had to get myself together. Mm-hmm. And I suppose I found like a new way, and I realized, I can learn a lot by myself. Though the social, I guess, aspect of BIM, of course, I couldn't like. That was great. That's what I thought like was, I guess, the best for me. Mm-hmm. But I still like, I found had some still connections in Berlin, and so that was nice. It was great, I wasn't here in Berlin, and knowing no one, so that was really nice. I decided not to continue for several reasons. One of them being like, I was working on an album, and I kind of needed the money for to invest in it, and. Yeah. I just couldn't do like the school, then like 30 hours of work, and then working on the album was just like
Yeah.
already like
Too much.
losing it. So yeah.
And that was Codependers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you decided to do music, just because you said you were interested in making beats, which to me says like hip hop, R&B, is that what you were interested in at the time?
Not really. I was just like,
Oh, okay.
I was just fucking around. Can I or
Yeah.
this is
Go
okay.
for it. Yeah.
It's not. I was just like fucking around in Fruity Loops, and I guess like some of it were beats, some of it not. But it's just like when I talk about these times, it just sounds better, I guess, when I say, I just wanted to do beats.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I was already like trying to write songs. But when I look back in my folders, it's usually always like 30 seconds. That's how I work.
Yeah.
I have like 30-second ideas.
Yeah, and then they never get finished.
They know.
I
Yeah.
have the same. It's like 80%
Yeah.
just snippets. Yeah.
For sure. And now what DAW do you use? Still Fruity Loops or?
No. Actually, that was what BIM was great for. I used Ableton because I was forced to use different DAWs.
Nice.
Just something like I didn't really have patience for. I already knew.
It's annoying.
Whenever I opened like Logic or Ableton or Pro Tools, it was just like, kill me right now. I just want to make music. So that was great.
Okay.
So and then Ableton was like big change. For what I do and. Just trying to think about things differently, I guess, because I was sort of approaching music from a similar ways, and the program itself taught me and the school to, try to start songs differently, try to experiment a little bit, even though I do like quite like restrained, structured pop, but to try to, do like stuff, like...
Yeah, try different things out and not get stuck in the same kind of...
Exactly. And, just using, the... stuff that's there, like arpeggiators on things that are not usually arpeggiated. And I was just like thinking about it, like, okay, what crazy chain of like plugins can I make here? And what's gonna come out of it? And I really like that. In Fruity Loops, I guess
it's harder to do that and stay organized.
Yeah.
Because it makes I've never used Fruity Loops, but it makes another track, right, for every automation you have.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the automations.
Oh,
I forgot what pain that was, but I just took it as necessary then. But
and in Ableton, it's so like fluently built in. It's really nice. And Logic as well.
Yeah, exactly. And like the live mode and performance mode, that's really nice. In Fruity Loops, it's just like
not for that. It's
we
great.
Played with it a few times, and like I really did enjoy the shows. I was just like constantly like, oh my god, it's gonna crash, because of course
the thrill.
Using it live.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. We used Fruity Loops live just to trigger MIDI. Like.
Okay, right.
Oh wow.
And, I think we had some like. Yeah, we had like Launchpad, and we're just like triggering everything, just try to play everything live, and it was so much stress actually. I just should have like played like
your hair starts falling out. You're like biting your nails.
Exactly.
It's all because of Fruity Loops Live.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn.
And then now, do you have a push, or is it?
Ooh.
No, because that's. I mean, I don't have one as well because they're super expensive, but they are such a
really
breeze
cool.
to like do stuff live with.
Yeah, I checked it out. It's really cool. I'm just trying to like, minimalize now and just like try to narrow my focus, because like I've been always trying to do too many things. I feel just get excited for mixing a lot. I was mixing a lot, at BIM the first year, and then I got a little bit like, I want to do my stuff as well, and but with my stuff I did like the music production, the writing, but also I tried to shoot kind of the music videos, just trying to write it. Of course, I was working with people. Took me so much time, and now I'm just like, oh my Robert, like, and now I'm even like considering like, even like narrowing down music production. I just want to collab with people and have someone like above me to like. I still want to, of course, like, because that's how I write. I don't write with like a piano, or in the beginning at least not. I just do with some sort of a sound that has like a vibe in it already. Yeah, and then I come back to like a regular instrument like piano that tells me like, if it's actually a listenable song and it's not just like cool sounds. It's like a double check. And so I just try to like really narrow it down with what I'm using, and just like it's super simple. Whenever I'm live, I'm just like no instruments actually. I'm just singing. Although now I'm considering maybe adding a little bit of piano, because that's like I'm comfortable with that, or like keyboard. But push or anything like that, no.
Yeah, it's a lot of buttons to figure out.
Yeah, and I think no one would see me for like 6 months or something. It would delay like the next album by a long time, and
it's also, I think, not that cool for people who aren't musicians to watch.
No.
Like, I don't know.
The live band thing it's going to be, I think people really enjoy that still. Or any sort of kind of live instrumentation. It's just people like it. It's honest. It's there.
Mm-hmm.
But earlier too, you brought up like restrained structure pop, you said.
Yeah.
Which was really interesting. Like, how, can you define that or go a little deeper into what that means for you?
Yeah. Okay. To me, it means just like, I feel like, I look at music in like, as I see like in like spectrum, like on the left side, I see like hardcore, like, structured pop. Mm-hmm. That just goes by rules and
like Weekend, Ariana Grande, like
exactly. And then you have, or even Beatles, right? And then you have on the other side like experimental music. That's not where you're like at a point where you're like, is this still music? Which is also interesting. I don't know at which point you have like sound or noise and when it becomes music. And that music is usually super free when it comes to like writing. You don't have to maybe come back necessarily to a chorus. You can use different types. You probably want to still work with repetition, but you're free to like always like do so many variations. And I feel like with pop and like the structured pop, it's just you're so restricted, and I just think it's really hard to write like pop music, even though like it's actually simple. And it appears simpler than experimental music, which has many layers and like melodies. It's actually so hard to make it work, and it's just sometimes it's like very difficult. And that's the same thing I feel like even with what is it? Yeah, sound and dynamics of it, like with mixing. Mm-hmm. So with experimental music, you don't have to compress everything like completely to death, and it's just everything is breathing, and it's really. It's nicer, and that whenever I'm like making music in the beginning, I'm just like, there's just no mixing, there's no like compressor on it, and like everything's like that. And then at one point, when I'm trying to make it work, it's just like, it's like hard and difficult, and I'm just like, I should have thought of this actually in the beginning, like, I have too many sounds. I have to like completely restrain it now because everything is squashed because there's not enough space. Mm-hmm. So like that's what I mean. So that's what I meant by the restrained structured pop.
Interesting.
I feel like there's a journey of people who like getting into music where if you're not into music at all and you just like hit whatever's on the Spotify homepage, you're like, pop's really cool. And then as you get more into music, you're like, pop kind of sucks. Oh, I really hate pop. And then it comes back around where you're like, pop's actually really impressive. Yeah. Like the production's like K-pop producers are some of the best in the world. Yeah. And it's just so like tight and really perfectly executed. And I never got into K-pop actually properly. It's hard to get into because there's such a world around it. And I never got into like the fandom part of it with all the like, it's so choreographed on every level about like each group having members that are meant to be like fulfilling different roles in the group, similar to kind of like NSYNC, I guess, or like One Direction, but just executed perfectly. So it's really hard to get into, but there's a podcast episode by Derek G, who he used to be a radio host, now does a podcast, just about kind of like how it works from an overview, which is kind of interesting. And he introduces bands. It's like, this is what people like about them, and there's like different generations to K-pop, which I didn't know about, and it's a whole world. But the production side of it's really, that's what's like interesting to me, because it's just very, very like
nice.
So
I
well
need to get into it. I like to like get into different stuff, and definitely, I was recently, I don't like rechecking, of course, like Weekend, and like just like admiring it exactly for. I don't know. Exactly. Everything's just like on point.
It's so clean. It's just so wrapped up and packaged in like a perfect little bow, Yeah,
exactly.
It's so nice,
It's crazy, because like whenever I'm working on something and it's really working, and it's really hard to get it to a point where like it actually, there's nothing that's just in the way, you know, like really to finish songs is, I feel like, super difficult, and and that's just like the way they are restricted. They have to, you know, they really have to catch attention in like, what is it, few seconds, you know, in what The Weeknd is doing or whatever, you know, his place in the musical food chain or whatever. It's like crazy, and must be so much also pressure, I realized. So I have like a lot of respect for it, even though I don't necessarily, it's not like my heart, you know, but like really respect it from like maybe different kind of view. So.
Was there a point in between making beats on Fruity Loops to now where you were like, there was a really big jump in quality of especially songwriting, but just sound overall, where you're like, oh, this sounds like something I would listen to myself? Does that make sense?
Actually, I'm like, I'm a little bit like Alex G. I'm so delusional. I don't know if you know him, Alex, but he's like, whatever he says is like, he said like, whenever I make music, and whenever I make something, I think it's the best thing in the world, you know? And like, it's divine. Oh, he says something, it's a divine product, you know? And then, you know, after some time I listen back to it, I'm like, yeah, it's all right. So as I was like, you know, even like 13, 14, starting out, I thought like, I'm like genius, you know? And then like, you know, after some time I'm like, oh my God, listening to my old demos. But that's the thing. It's interesting. I guess I always had this, that I always believed in it, even though I don't know if there was any substance for it, but maybe there was, I guess. I always believed in making music, and that I heard maybe some potential in there. And only later I got like a critical ear to it a little bit, so that I could improve. Yeah.
Did you always have such a strong, because like when I look at your profile, like your kind of your look, you have this really strong visual direction in your music. Like, did that come, you know, as a result of your sound, or was that developed kind of alongside your journey, your musical journey?
Alongside.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Because I struggled with visuals in the beginning. Really? Yeah.
That's so interesting, because everything's so on point. You know, like I see.
Thanks.
I just, especially the Codependers, like, it's just the album, everything is just very like packaged.
Yeah. I brought you something, by the way. Sorry, I'll answer the question, but
no, yeah, Oh my, you already brought beer. That was very nice.
And I hopefully.
Oh my gosh! So cool. Oh my God, it's so pretty.
That's really cool.
I feel like this is like a Nardwar interview.
But reversed.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
That's awesome.
This is beautiful.
No worries.
When we have the break for the cameras, we can find a way to put it up on there.
Yeah, we will. Yeah. This is amazing. Do you want to hold it?
Yeah.
It's like a baby.
How did you...
and it's, not to brag, but it's also, you know...
do you have like liner notes and everything?
Like, what is it? No. Actually, no. It's just like...
it's like a little... Very cool. It's got like a...
Then I saw the world ending.
Oh, it's like a lyric line. But yeah, so I cool. Almost like on the way here, it almost like got into my wheel. But I think it's okay. I was just like, oh my God, and like it was like around the corner. I was just like,
oh no.
Yeah, but I think it looks okay.
It looks good.
Do you remember what your question was?
Oh my gosh.
No, I remember.
Because I also have a question about this now.
Okay, one at a time. Visuals.
Oh yeah, if like it came to me later. Yeah, and I said something like that. I struggled with visuals a lot. And that's like what I've been like learning to do in the past years or something. Wow. So you know, I wrote the album in like 2020 or 21, and then for a year I was really like focusing on visuals, because I didn't really have like a style in my head. You know, I just had like a color. I'm just like very abstract kind of thinking person. I guess I was. I guess a little bit changed, but as with the lyrics, I suppose it was very often abstract, you know, not necessarily like visual, sensual imagery there. Yeah. It's like abstract thoughts, and very often. And with I think it's connected to the visuals as well. So I just abstractly like I can really like feel the color when I hear the sound or whatever. I don't think that that synesthesia thing. I think everybody has it. I don't think that. Like Kanye is like, oh, I have synesthesia.
Hot take.
Yeah.
No, but I think there's some truth. I think it just depends on whether or not you open yourself up to.
That's the thing, and I was really happy to learn that. Like, yeah, it's there because I was a little bit like I had like. It was a little bit sad,
Why do you get to have synesthesia?
Exactly.
I don't.
Yeah, I've been there as well. Damn.
Exactly. Damn Kanye. And
oh gosh.
And so with the help with like writing lyrics, what's the book? What is it? It's like the most famous like lyric writing book. Write Better Lyrics or something?
How to Write Better Lyrics?
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And that actually taught me a little bit how to get into the visual stuff because, with like writing lyrics, I could also write like, imagine the scripts and stuff. So, and I was focusing less on, I suppose, emotion or like abstract thought. Mainly with me, it was abstract thought and more thinking about like, where are we? What's happening? Yeah. And of course, then there's the element of style, I guess, as well. That's another thing, I guess. With style, I don't know, I was just like scrolling through Tumblr and a lot of that things like that for a long time. And it was really funny and interesting process. I learned so much, but it took me so long. And like next time, no. I need like a director that's really, and I'm just going to give him like almost like full power, really. Because like I'm just like micromanaging everything. I'm a power freak. I just want to do everything. Yeah, but it took me like 3 years to finish everything, and it's now I realize how much I want to like just really write and really like get good at that and write. That's the really narrowing the focus. That's the thing I really want to be.
And actually focus on music, which was the whole point.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, Yeah, exactly. So,
What was the process for getting vinyl pressed like?
Yeah, so I pressed with Deep Grooves. It's like a Dutch company. They were quite nice. I was actually originally working with a company from California called... Okay, I'm not gonna say that, but they basically got me into like a deal that I thought was great, and it really wasn't. But like the thing was like with vinyls is like, as like a DIY artist, you don't necessarily need like hundreds of records.
Yeah.
But you need to get hundreds of records because like kind of it's usually minimums like 100 or 200 or 300, and if you get 100, it's almost the same price as you get 300.
Right.
And so this company offered like we're gonna get like 100 of the records just for ourselves in the States, and we're just gonna promote it and sell it. And I was like, whoa, that's amazing. And you're gonna get like like a little better deal. But like in the middle of the process, I like learned like it's not really that good. Like the deal, it's actually just basically they get 100 of the records, and it's basically the same price as I would get here.
Right.
And for like less quality and everything and all this stuff. So I was researching, and there's like options obviously, and I was like considering it because there's this, I don't know if you've heard of it. There's a company that what they do is that it's like a fundraiser kind of thing or something, or like
people Kickstarter type of thing.
Yeah,
where people
kind
buy
of
it
like,
before
people
you
buy it beforehand, and you can like decide like people buy like 50, and then the rest you pay, and then it gets realized. But they just get like a massive cut there, and you're really like, if you sell all the 100 records, you're like, it's risk-free kind of, but you're not really making any money, like none at all. So, and that's like, it's like, it's unnecessary. They're just taking always like €8 or something from every record, or $8, and it doesn't change if you press 200, 300. They just always take it. Right. So it's just like, wait, what's the service here? And so I didn't like that in the end, although I might be considering it next time just like maybe to finance like a little bit of it. Of course, yes,
Yeah.
some people are gonna buy it, but then the rest I'm gonna buy myself, where there's not this like €8 plus thing there, which is really expensive. So yeah, anyway, yeah. So the process was, I just used this company, and it's shit ton of money that one needs, and yeah, but like I done like 300 records, and like the idea was like, of course, the first press is the most expensive one, and the copies then that's cheap.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm gonna get more rather than less, and then see, it doesn't get spoiled, and like food or something.
Yeah.
And who knows what's gonna happen, and the worst case scenario, I can. We'll see how it goes. So basically, so that was the process, and the company is amazing. It's like eco-friendly and everything, and I was really happy with it. So they've done really really good job, and they were super like honest with like when it's gonna be done, and it took hours because we were really bad with like, it was our first record, to really send them the pressed like printing file, right? So that it's not like actually we sent it to them when it was like like switched around, like it was actually
like the graphic printing part.
And it was just, oh my god. And like I'm glad they checked it out, because since like the font is of course also like, that's intentional, by the way. It's like that, so I was a little bit surprised that they actually found out that it's
the right way up.
Yeah. But so they really paid attention to that. But and they have like a lot of it's like a nice product, and they have like lots of extra thingies you can use, and even these like that if I had budget for it, I would do, and this maybe next time, like a Japanese obi strip over it. I don't know if you know it. It's beautiful, and it actually worked really well with this font, and I would have like the obi strip here, and then would be the font, and it would be
what is an obi strip?
It's pretty. It's like a little slip, right?
Like
a book cover, like
exactly,
book sleeve almost, but
okay,
it's a strip, and it's like why it originates from Japan. That's like,
exactly. I mean, it would work here with the thing, and it's just like I would like to make it. I mean, the way I'm thinking about it, of course, no one really needs vinyl. I guess like people enjoy it. People enjoy it. It's better, way better sound.
Yes, of course.
But I mean, comfort wins for for me as well. Like I listen to Spotify all the time, and even though I know like how much like my music gets like compressed and everything, I'm just like, oh my god, it's like crying. But people don't know, because they don't know the difference, and it's fine. It's completely fine. I'm listening to music, and I'm not like, I'm hearing like the low bitrate of the MP3.
I used to, before Apple had like the sound normalization, right? And you would listen to one track, and then the next one would be really quiet, and you'd have to like turn up your volume. But now it's really, I don't notice at all.
Nice. Yeah.
So how many copies in total were pressed? How many?
300.
So it's a pretty rare record then. That's
it is. It's still rare. Definitely.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool. Yeah.
And what was the photography, like who did the photography for you? And also the
can
lettering?
you just give us some more background on that photo? It's really
sure. Yeah.
Really
so
cool.
the photo was taken during the shoot of the second music video. It's for a song called Resource. It's on the record, and that like song was connected to the main theme of the album, Codependers, and what was it about? And I just really wanted that hug, which happens in the music video, to be as like that's what I wanted to be. That's the main idea behind it. It's like what's it gonna be? And it's just like basically in the music video, it's two fighters. They're fighting, and in the middle of the fight, they basically, it turns into a hug, pretty much. And there's like, of course, other storylines happening, but I wanted this like duo, basically idea of it like kind of represents my ambivalent feelings towards a lot of people. Especially my dad, family, a lot of my like romantic relationships. It was like, even friends, I had like issues with like, realizing if I like, first of all, if I love them or if I hate them, or from them as well, if what they like feel towards me is love or hate. And I guess I was always trying to like lean towards one or another, and then I guess I kind of settled into like realizing it's both. Very likely. And I guess that kind of is like what's the word, catharsis a little bit.
Yeah.
So kind of like accepting myself,
Mm-hmm.
my father, friends. Yeah, and the photo was taken there by Kate Kuich, like a photographer from Prague.
Cool.
We shot it also in Prague, the whole thing. So luckily I know some people from Prague, like the director, Jan Vališ. He's been doing all my music videos. Amazing guy.
Nice.
And so we took it there, and in between shots did this picture, and it turned out quite nice. And then in the middle, there's also if I can show, it's one of the pictures.
Oh, the back is also, I didn't notice. So it's like bright yellow with the lettering.
Yeah. So this also taken by Kate, like both of them, this one and originally even that one, but that's a collage, and it's like the effects are actually made by the guy who made the actual design, the graphic design, and that's actually one of the fighters here. It's Peter.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy, he made the fonts and everything, and so that was really, really fun, but it
Took a long time.
Yeah, I was just like, I don't know. Took me so long, everything, like it's. I'm really happy, but I need to. I want to like collaborate more, and like I was collaborating actually, but I really want to like give people more like
Creative
free
control.
will. Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to find people that you trust.
That's the
to get
thing.
it
That's
the
the
way
thing
you want
because
it.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'll have to learn this. So that's like a new thing I want to learn. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know.
How do you feel about your finished art? Like, do you still feel like it's very much yours? Like when you look at that album?
Oh, totally.
You're,
Yeah. All of it.
Or do you
completely.
feel like,
No.
are there any songs ever where you're just like, it's not mine anymore, it's the universe's? No?
No.
You're like,
No. It's completely like I feel like 100% mine,
Mm-hmm.
and in like a good way, but also in a painful way.
Okay. So
So
there's
it's
like the carrying the burden of all of the control, maybe?
Yeah, no,
like, or no, maybe
It's-
that's not the way to put it, but
What I meant is like I don't know if you guys ever feel that, but like for me, I've never really felt satisfied. I've never like reached point where like, oh, now I'm satisfied forever. I mean,
No.
of course, no one does. But like musically, that's what it like. I always comes a time where I'm like, I don't like this anymore so much. I want to do different stuff,
Mhm.
And it's just like not like necessarily like, oh, this music is no longer good. It's more like a new direction, and I'm just like taking a new direction. And then in some time, I'm like, oh yeah, it wasn't so bad,
Yeah.
I like the music actually. I'm reconnecting, but it's I guess this kind of thing is important, I suppose.
yeah, I always say the greatest song I've ever written hasn't been written yet, which I think is maybe stealing from somebody. I don't know. Sometimes I say things, I'm like, did I get that from somebody else? But yeah, like that always pushing, never satisfied. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Although I'm trying to learn to
To accept a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I'm also like trying to judge it from like a perspective like, okay, so when like there's useful doubts, there's
Mhm.
very unuseful doubts.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to like always make sense of it. Okay, is this good? Is this bad? And I suppose like the initial emotion that I get like listening back to my album, and then if I get some sort of a doubt, I'm like, okay, well could be interesting, and I write it down. That could always be interesting, but where it goes from there, that's like if it turns into like emotional loop of like, oh, it's actually
Mhm.
it's not good for this reason or whatever. Oh, this is so 2021
Yeah.
and whatever,
That's
So and like you can like always like compare yourself to anything,
Yeah.
really. And I think like even with the best artists, like there's never like, oh, it's perfect, It may
Mhm.
seem to us, but like no, I think they have to like learn to sort of like work with it somehow to be happy. So
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well,
What I struggle with is remembering that maybe useful doubt is whether I like it or not, and problematic doubt is whether I'm embarrassed to show that I like it, or like are other people going to like it? Because at the end of the day, especially as a producer, what you're selling is your taste.
right,
Like, yes, it's the skill, but anyone can get the skill. And then the
right.
taste is what like makes you unique as a producer. And I always have to remind myself of like, no, I do actually like this thing.
That's
it
an
doesn't-
interesting
like,
point. Nice.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know.
very
That's what I'm trying to make work for me.
That's pretty good way of looking at it.
Mm.
I love that. Cool.
Sorry, I interrupted you. What were you gonna say?
No, you didn't interrupt me.
Do you also
at
have
all.
any unuseful or useful doubts?
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, my latest mantra has been an attempt to fight it. It's actually my screensaver, but I can't open it. It's limitless self-expression, no justification, which is like my lately thing. Like,
Limitless self-expression.
no justification.
No justification. And that's like your motto. That's like a good thing, right?
Yeah, like
Limitless self-expression. Oh, that's really nice. Yeah.
yeah, it's like just don't try to be like, yeah, I did this creative decision for this way, like justifying it. Like I did this for this reason. Just like do it, you know? But actually, this is kind of reminding me of like when I first met you to maybe talk about the podcast and having you on. I remember you said something that really struck me. It was like, you were really, you were so critical about your own music. And you're like, yeah, maybe it sucks. And I'm like, well, I mean, should we have you on the podcast? Like you yourself, you kind of had this really interesting, I hadn't encountered this before, because I feel like there are a lot of people who are very behind their own music, even if there may not be very much reason to. Like their music itself is, but they are like so gung-ho. They're like, yes, like here's my stuff, here's me. And you were just kind of like, I don't know, So is that how you approach a lot of situations? I found that really interesting because we're all our own worst critic.
Totally.
But then I looked into your stuff. I'm like, this is like, what was he talking about? Like, it's just really interesting.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Like there's truth to it, and certainly I was like also like I was trying to like make fun of it a little bit. Like it's just like we can do this podcast. And sometimes you're like when you meet people and you're like all excited and I was just like, well, I just want to throw it in there. Well, how do you know? Like, what if it's like my music is complete like bullshit, and you're gonna take me on the podcast and you're gonna ruin your podcast? Oh my god! Now, of course, so
that's the back of oh, for sure.
Yeah,
like we should collab. For
sure.
So there was, but you really got caught on. Why do you think? Oh my god, do you think the music? You have to believe in yourself, and it's just like it's not really that bad. But the truth is, I prefer to be real to myself, kind of like self-critical. I try to be real, and it's hard to know when you're real. That's actually the question, right? Because like people that are maybe sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah, people who are like maybe too optimistic about their own stuff. They're like dreaming their way somewhere, and then at some point maybe there's gonna be a cliff, and they're like metaphorical. And they're being like, oh, it's actually not that good because they face some sort of a failure. And I'm just like trying to always, I guess, I'm not sure like to which point it's like, I'm trying to like make like work with it, but like I think to be critical of your own stuff is necessary, completely necessary for progress. And the question is when it becomes a hindrance and when not. And everybody's different. And I mean, the thing for me, what's important is that like every day I wake up, I'm just like fully into like, I really want to make music. That's like really the first thing I really want to do the first day, the first part of the day. And I just love it. And listen back to my stuff a lot. Should maybe less.
Yeah,
and it's a hard thing because I think it's also really good because I'm kind of like, sometimes like making songs, composing, or like not even like at home. I'm just listening to my old demos and I'm like, this could be a song. Oh, this could go like this, So that's. I think it's like it depends. I guess more developed songs. If I listen to them, it's like okay, I shouldn't do that. Maybe I'm losing kind of like the vibe for it. But I think like the bottom line is I think it's necessary and it's good, the self-criticism, but everyone has to somehow like find their way, I suppose, if it's not like self-sabotaging, and if you're not like this, for me it's important to know like, is this preventing me from taking actions, like that I don't believe in myself, and like that's the thing. As long as like I want to take every option that I get, and as I'm still making music and it's not like refraining me from doing music, it's like a thought, you know. It's just thoughts and thoughts and thoughts, and it's progress. I don't know. You know, there's the thing.
Yeah.
So
It is. Hello, guys. You have reached the halfway mark.
Yeah, that was the first half of our episode with Bob Bleedy. We'll be following up with the second half next week because we recorded for longer than normal. And check out his album.
Yes.
It's really great. We got this cool vinyl. It's really well executed. Also, go check out the Instagram. He'll be updating about shows coming up. And you can see all the other visual stuff for the album because that's really, really well executed. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you back next week.
Bye, guys.